Well, good day. This is the Think Director, Phil. And again, we're in this session about asking questions. This is a great life skill that all of us need. How do I ask a question to get an effective answer back? And the answer is what I need to get my understanding to get to the next point. So in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about learning that skill, doing some practice, understanding the ancients, and one big question, then what? So be curious, right? Be curious as we go through this. Questions are for asking. A well-thought question leads to the right solution, though it may take asking many times. Just consider that for a little bit. Roll it over in your head. A well-thought question leads to the right solution, though it may take asking many times. I learned this as an employer working with the folks who are working with me. I'd come in and say, well, what about this? What about this? And I always tried to make the question a little bit hard to answer to cause them to think about where they want to go with it and how they want to get there. All right, one of the questions we used to ask ourselves a lot at work is, right, what's the downline impact of this action? If I take this action, who is it going to affect? And how is it going to affect them? And I ask that question until it gives me an answer that guides my next question, which is what's the best use of my time right now? If I know what the impact is and I know who it's going to affect, then what's the best use of my time right now? Is it to contact that person, get it done, and tell them later? What is it? So asking a good question leads to the right solution, though it may take asking many times. Asking questions. Asking questions is a way to get information or clarification about something that's important to you. It's a basic social skill that helps us meet our needs while encouraging others to help us. Really consider this. It's a way to get information or clarification about something that's important to me. That's why I'm asking the question. I'm not just asking it to shove somebody a different direction or to manipulate them. I'm asking them to get information or clarification. It's a basic social skill. Helps us meet our needs. I ask a question to get my needs met. That's okay. I need my needs met. I need other people to help me. If I think back to the core of the Serenity Prayer, right, one of those phrases is the courage to change the things that need to be changed. Well, I need help to change the things that need to be changed. So I want to ask a question to get that help, encourage others to help me. I need help. I can't do it all on my own. Please don't think you can do it all on your own. I can't do it on my own. You can't do everything on your own. We're in this thing together. Stephen Covey says it this way: seek first to understand before you seek to be understood. And then Solomon the Wise, 4,000 years ago plus, wrote, answer a matter before you fully listen to it and understand it, and to you it will be a shame and a folly. Now, of course, he wrote that in Aramaic or Hebrew at the time, and we've translated it into English. But answer a matter before you fully listen to it and understand it, and it'll be you'll just get confused, and it'll be a shame and a folly to you. So listen before you ask that question. Listen before you jump in. We talk about active listening in one of our other little spot scenario add-ons. Skill steps for asking questions. Do you ever think about this? I've got a toolbox, and I have screwdrivers in there. I have Phillips head screwdrivers and flat screwdrivers. I've got different sizes of wrenches and hammers, all these different tools. I need to know the skill that goes with that tool. If I'm hammering a nail, I don't just slam down on it. I need to hit it so that it goes in correctly. There's skill to it. So asking a question has skill steps too. Decide what you'd like to know more about. Don't just ask some random question. What do you think about that? You can do that, but is that really what you really want? Do you want to be a little more specific? Decide whom to ask. If I want to learn how to cook a turkey, I don't ask my 3-year-old. I might ask my wife. I might ask one of my sons who's a great cook. Number 3, think about different ways to ask your question and pick it. Are you gonna make a phone call? Are you gonna send a text? Are you going to send an email? Are you going to meet with that person over coffee? What are the different ways you can ask your question? And pick that way. Now, number 4, pick the right time and place to ask your question. Decide what you want to know. Decide who you're going to ask. Think about different ways to ask your question and pick one way. Pick the right time and place to ask your question. Everything can't be done over text if you want short answer questions, but if you want to have a discussion about something, you may need to get face to face, or you may need to do it inside of a workshop or a class, like we have workshops. And sometimes the best time to ask that question is right there with everybody else in the room, right? Or enter a discussion point or respond to something on the lesson. And then, this is crazy, right? Ask the question. Sometimes we get all ready and we never ask the question. I have a stack of paper sitting right here on my desk of questions that need answers, but I have to pick up the phone and apply the time. I got to call some insurance company and go through this whole conversation. I have to ask a question or I'm never going to get that answer. Ask your question. Might not get the answer you want, might be more complicated than you want, but if you never ask it, you're never going to get to the point of getting the help that you want. Remember, what did we say? It's a basic social skill that helps us meet our needs while encouraging others to help us. Here's a model moment. You can do this with me. You can send me an email or pop it inside of a course or wherever you're listening to this at. What's going to happen next? What's next? How did you receive this, and what's my role in being a part of a receiver, and what can I do next? If you're in a workshop, what's going to happen next? That's a good question to ask. Send me a note on that and I'll answer it for you. Okay, here's another role play that you can do on your own. Find a couple of people to do it with you. It's always good, right, to practice through so that when you're doing something particular, you can master it ahead of time. So you can ask for time off work or find community help or talk to a doctor about your meds or get visitation with the child. I encourage you maybe take that one about talking to a doctor about your meds. You need a listener. You need somebody who is asking the question, who's going to be the doctor, somebody else who's watching. You do it with a couple of people. You can do it just by yourself, thinking it through, but you don't get to outside observation. And then at the end, after you've gone through this, think through, well, how did that go? Did I follow the steps? Did I ask my question? Did I really consider how I wanted to do it? Do some role play. Get outside yourself. Take a breath. It's a little intimidating sometimes. We do this in our workshops, but you can do it on your own also. Right now, here's what the ancients say, right? Things written 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Asking questions and active listening are closely related. We ask questions to get our needs met, but asking is about allowing the other person to answer, not leading them into an answer. In Christ, in our Christian format, we are asked to ask. We ask God, it allows God to enter in and help us. We call that prayer. Isn't that interesting? Prayer is asking a question. God, would you do this? Person, would you do this? Right? So in a Christian format, but you don't have to be a Christian to want to ask questions of other people. And all different kinds of faiths have ways of asking questions, but it's important in respecting the other person. Right? And Jesus said in one spot, asking it to be given to you, seeking you'll find, knocking it to be open. Everyone who asks receives, one who seeks finds, and one who knocks it will be open. So he's communicating. It's a great thing to be a question asker, to be knocking and always continually looking for more information. How's that for a great philosophy of life? And in Proverbs written 4,000 years ago, wow. If somebody answers a question before he hears it, it's a folly and a shame. So ask the question and listen for the answer. Active listening and asking questions, the two go together. John 16, until now you've asked nothing in my name. Ask and you'll receive that your joy may be full. Right? Again, part of that philosophy is if I get a good answer, or if I get a bad answer, if I get an answer, it's going to increase my joy and my understanding because understanding increases my joy. That's a different principle that you should always understand. When I gain insight into anything, it always increases my joy juice. And James, one of the early leaders, even when you ask you don't get it because your whole aim is wrong. You only want to do it just to give you pleasure. So that's a good thought about asking. I'm not trying to just get something, but I'm trying to get what I need, and I'm not trying to just spend it on myself. I want to be generous with the answers that I get. Now, how about then what? One of my greatest questions that I love to ask. So I get to the end of something and I say, then what? If I do this, then what might happen? Would I get more understanding? If I go through these skill steps on asking questions, then what might happen? Might I learn something I haven't learned because the person feels I'm a little more open to them? Never will forget a mom who came to me once, teenage kids. She was coming out of rehab after some years in prison. She just started working with her kids and talking to them and openly, actively listening and asking questions. And so one day the kids just looked at her and said, Mom, are you sick? What's going on? You've never treated us this way before. And she realized that though she thought she was asking questions, she thought she was listening, she really wasn't. And it radically changed her life, changed her kid's life. And today, many years later, she's got a great family and is doing really well. And she was the one who entered in and made the change. You can be the one who enters into your life and your world and makes that change, being a good question asker. You have a great day.